Uh, mm, mm. Yeah, hello. How are you doing with the tarot cards? I haven't continued since, I did post that I did, like, 3 more. I haven't posted it on Twitter, actually, now that I think about it. I did post it on YouTube community that I made the full one. So on stream I did Death as Muhammad, and then after that I did Tower as Filibuster, I did Moneko as the Fool, and I did Yulala as the Emperor. The drawings are up in the community tab. I should probably also upload it on Twitter later. And yes, Lucas stream, because tomorrow is a holiday here, so tomorrow and Thursday are sort of holidays, so we're kinda chilling, and I kinda feeling like playing Pizza Tower. So yeah, I'm not gonna do any work. Yeah, of course, that's how we all want you to be. We don't want any mods to do any work right here. Just chill. I can't wait to see how you draw the Hangman. Honestly, I am considering changing the Hangman, but I'm not really sure. I'll have to look up the tarot card definition again. Will there be gambling? That's actually a good point. But I don't know what exactly to gamble. Like, I think what I can gamble is like how long will I clear? Like this one, okay, I've kind of done already an 100% attempt speedrun before, and I think this was like just barely over 3 hours. What would be a good way? What would be like a good time to? Okay, hold on. So, just so that you guys can get a little bit of an idea, let's see. Pizza Tower speedrun. Yeah, just Pizza Tower speedrun. Pizza Tower speedrun. What I want to do is this one, 100%. World record, Pink Kitty Rose. I'm pretty sure Pink Kitty Rose is streaming right now, actually. She's been streaming this game for like the past couple of god knows how long. Yep, she's streaming right now, but there's an ad. She's also doing 100% speedruns. Okay. She got sub 2 hours. I've only done like 1 attempt. My attempt was like 3 hours something. It's like just barely above 3 hours. Please don't change the Hangman. Currently it's Dark Mitama, but I don't know. We'll see. It seems like a lot of people are around like 230. I'm very confident that I'm not gonna be under 230, but I mean last time I was at like 3 hours ish. I don't think I'll be able to cut down half an hour in like one go. Maybe oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, she's fucking insane. She's also the only record holder in 101%. Literally the only one in the 101 category, because 101 is actually stupidly hard. I think okay, let's start a prediction. Let's start a prediction. But what's a good time to base it on? It's like, do I go under 245 maybe? Okay, let's see. Will Lucas beat 100% in under 245? Okay, there we go. Look, 245 is... Submission period, let's set it 30 minutes, because why the hell not? Alright, prediction has begun. 101. 101 is not only all P ranks, 101 is P ranks and all chef task, which is a lot I'm not going to do that. There's a reason why there's only 1 entries in 101. It's because 101 is stupid crazy. Oh no, why did I full screen? What the fuck? Okay, there we go. Isn't there 102? Nope, that's a bug. 102 was a bug. It wasn't actually a thing, it was a bug. There was a bug that accidentally like increases 1% of your save file, but it's not actually a thing. It's already fixed anyways. Also, I got an auto clicker for this. So good. Alright. Well, it's not like auto clicker will help me in the speedrun anyways. It's just for funsies. Alright, I'll close the auto clicker. Alright. Since this is my holy shit, no, this is my holy shit save file, but this one is one of my old, this one is my John Suit speedrun? Yeah, this is my John Suit speedrun. I think I'll delete this one. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. Oh, my mouse is on the screen. Alright, I need to get my mouse away. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Where's the downers? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure myself. Like, I got over 3 hours last time. I have to cut down like 20 minutes. And that's a lot. I have not practiced or anything. So I don't see any reason why you shouldn't doubt, honestly. Alright, delete save file. Right, let's go. Ironically, there was actually a heaven level very early in development. Heaven level? What? Like a pizza heaven, that's cool. Sheesh. Right, let's go. So in 100% speedruns, the main thing that you need to get, aside from obviously like all top-ins, is that I think you need all secrets and also S ranks on everything, and also all treasures. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if you need all secrets. No, I'm pretty sure you do. I'm pretty sure you do need all secrets. So all top-in, all secrets, all treasures, and all S ranks. But like S ranks are honestly pretty forgiving. S rank is a little bit scary, but if you do lap 2, as long as you don't drop your combo way too much, if you drop your combo like once or twice, you should still be okay with S rank. S rank is generally not super crazy to get. Cheesy on my peenie and put some pasta in my balls. Also, I've learned a technique from the Pink Kitty Rose person later. I'll show it later. Also, if you've never seen me play Pizza Tower before, I'm not really sure if this is a good way to introduce, but this is the technique that I learned. Timer is paused here. I'm not really sure if this counts as the timer for speedruns, but if you stand in front of the door and then you press exit level while holding up, it'll kick you out, but it'll count as clearing. But it'll skip like the ranking animations and everything, and that's good. You got an ad already? That is really early to the stream. Oh yeah, Twitch is showing that there's ad playing. Damn, really early into the stream and we already had an ad play. Fucking Twitch revenue changes and all that stuff. They're really trying to push increased ads everywhere. That sucks. Oh, my earphone is flipped. My earphones left and right is flipped. Oh, I should change that later. Oh, secret. I hope I don't forget any secrets. I'm just gonna take it slow here. Alright. Next. Super jump here. Okay, good. I sometimes still fail that. But usually it'll just take... Oh my god, I forgot the fucking bananas. But sometimes it usually just takes like 1 or 2 tries and it should be okay. Secret here. There we go. I don't understand why, but this secret in particular always plays a sound effect whenever you enter it, and I don't really understand why. It's like only this secret plays a sound effect. Done. Hello there. Oh! Okay, missed that one. Oh, banana slip. Ah. Okay. Oh, I forgot to go. I forgot to do treasure. I'll do the treasure on lap 2. I need to do lap 2 anyways. Okay, luckily we don't actually need to do chef task, because the chef task in John Gutter are actually kind of hard. Y'all ready to get funky? Lap 2. The deaths that I deserve, Yoli. I might be able to P rank this if I still get the S rank anyways, but I should be able to. I should be able to get enough combos for S rank. It's like Tower Secret Treasure gives a lot of bonus points. Go. P rank? P rank? What? S rank? Wait, what? Oh, I missed the secret. Oh, I just remembered. Okay. I remember now. There's a secret here that I haven't gotten into. Okay, right here. Oh no, combo might drop. Ah, never mind. Combo doesn't drop. Cool, we got the P rank. Unless like a Fortnite fucks us up or some shit. That twirl movement is so good. I've barely used that like twirl to stop momentum on a couple of my first playthroughs, but now that I'm more used with the game, like twirling to stop momentum is so good. Okay, there we go. Moving on. This stage's music so fucking good. Although I forgot to change my earphones left and right, it's still mixed. Like I hear something that's coming from the left or screaming from the right, and it's just like, oh, that's not the right way where the audio should be from. Alright, there we go. Grab that. I've also like lately kind of been just checking out on how bad 101 actually is, and it's like not only the fact that you gotta P rank, but also just the fact that you gotta get chef task along the way. Like that shit's just insane. Trying to do chef task and while also doing a P rank. There are some chef tasks that are like, just how the fuck do you do this while also doing P ranks? I'm pretty sure some are just straight up impossible, like the John Gutter one, where you gotta do John Gutter under 2 minutes. It's like, well, that one is absolutely not compatible with P rank. Like you have to do a second lap for that. Sorry, a second try for that. This music's so fucking good. Cold Spaghetti. This music name is Cold Spaghetti. Look it up on YouTube. It's super good. Also, they used this for the final boss team too. Cold Spaghetti is a real boss. It really is. There's actually quite a lot of like surprising amount of leitmotif that are used from the stages for the final boss. The one that this one I kind of heard from the beginning that like, oh yeah, they use the stage's music. But the one that I didn't realize were actually used was Refrigerator. They used the Refrigerator one and I'm like, what? I did not hear it the first time around, but then it's like, I saw like a video that shows like all of the leitmotif being used in the final boss, and then Refrigerator came up, and I'm like, when did Refrigerator came up? And then I heard it again, and they actually like slowed down the Refrigerator one, and it's just like, wow, that's really cool. Hello there. Oh, thank you. I still wonder what decision was made on to like, yeah, let's have like the Pope to get Peppino out of like transformation. Oh, Fortnite! Ow. Oh, I think I'll do it on second lap. I don't have enough combo. No, maybe that's fine. Maybe it's yeah, whatever. I think I missed the secret too. Oh wait, did I? Or did I? Oh no, it's right here. Wow. Oh no! Oh fuck! I need you to kick me right now. Oh my god! I went too fast. Okay, it's fine. We should at least be able to get S ranked. That's all we need. We just need to get S rank. We don't need P rank. It's fine. Copium. Copium, we don't need P rank. Lap 2. Oh, okay. So we just need to get the treasure, and we should be fine, I think. Die. Hey, that's also a skip that I learned, which is that if you do an uppercut, in the air before opening a locked door, whether it's like Jerome Treasure or just key door in general, it skips the key animation. Did you get all secrets? Did I not? I'm pretty sure I did. Did I miss any? I don't think so. I think I just lack score right now. Please give me score. I can still taunt on the thing. Yeah, there we go. We got it. Oh, we also already got that one. Okay. Okay, I don't need to do that, but that's fine. Planking slows time? What do you mean planking? Is that super tight and score deep dish? You still get S, yeah. First time I tried P ranking blood sauce. P ranking blood sauce is insane. Also, hold on. P ranking blood sauce, I had to spend like 80 attempts before I even got to pizza time, and then I lost combo and lap 2. On that tight hall on the way back. I know which hall you're talking about. That hall catches pretty much everyone. But yeah, blood sauce is kind of not. Wait, what? Okay, whatever. Oh, fuck. There we go. Speedrun strats. 2, 3. Hold your breath or plank slow time? What are you talking about? Oh, fuck. Okay. That might still be S? Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna do like the speedrun strats. I'm just gonna play it normally. That is like 2 hits, right? I think. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna be a little bit more careful here. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Pop. Ooh, okay, there we go. That should still be yes. 2 hits or less. Alright, cool. I'm gonna drink. And also switch my earphone before I forgot. I don't know if you can, like, skip this animation. I'm too afraid to try at this point. Alright, let's go. I'll just move on to the next level. Ancient Sneed. Don't play any Pizza Tower OST for a week. Impossible? That really is impossible. That's just been banging for, like, the entire fucking month. Ancient Sneed time. Okay. No, we still got it. Okay, cool. You can't skip the rating screens for a boss? That's unfortunate. What? What? Hi, Jerome. Can anyone recommend me other teams other than the Chases? What do you mean by Chases? I assume, do you mean the Zerbioli and Pizza Time? There's a lot of music that I've already used. I think probably one of my favorite is still Pepino Sauce Machine. That music is so damn good. The problem is the level sucks. Pepino Sauce Machine is goated, but man, Pepibot Factory sucks. Oh my god, explosion, please. Paranoid. Here? Blow up, please, thank you. Where are we going? Bomb? Rote? Bomb? Lamp oil? We got them. As long as you have the rupees. There we go. Thank you. Bomb. Woo. 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 I don't know how to whistle. Some shop here. Yay! Gotta restart now. Miss the explosion chef task. Oh god. One day, maybe we'll do 101. Oh my! You fucking asshole, Spencer. To be fair, I also lost control there. Also, hi, Molly. Let's just go in. Oh, now I'm fearing if I lack scores for P rank. Fuck you. That might have been a mistake. I might have need that. Bombs. Oh my god! Why does the explosion last so long? Oh my god, I lost my combo twice. Hopefully I should still be okay for S. I should collect as much point as possible. I should not skimp out on points. Wait, right here? Yeah. Keep on forgetting this part. Oh my god! My combo drops again! Oh, fucking hell. No. Whoa! Come on! Okay, we're close to S. We should be okay. I think. I hope. Chef task complete. The chef task that literally everybody got without even trying. Oh. Fuck you. Okay, I need to kill. I need to kill. I need to score. Time is fine, I think. I hope. I think we're fine on time. I need the score. I need the S rank. Please give me the S rank. Yes, there we go. Okay. Oh, we're timed though. Okay, we're fine. We're good. What? Did I really press restart level? Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Wait, hold on. Does this? I wonder if that counts somehow. Nope, it doesn't. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, we actually gotta restart. I actually fed. Holy shit. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's I'm trying to get the P rank. I'm trying to get the P rank. It's fine. This is just a P rank attempt now. We're good. We're good. Troping for content. Fine, it's fine, it's fine. Paranoid. It's like 7 minutes down the block. But it's fine. We still got this. Oh wait, I need to go here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Really? I came from above and it still hit me? What the fuck? Bro. You... Whatever. I'm going anyways. It's fine. We should still get the S rank. It's fine. I just need to take some extra top-ins, that's all. Die. Do 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 do. Okay, die! Whoa! Okay, bombs? Does that kill? No, it doesn't! Oh my god! Thank you! Okay, now I'm not sure if I'll actually get the S or not. Bomb? Thank you. If we don't get any more combo drops from now, we might still be fine. Alright, let's go. What? Also, I'm sorry I'm not gonna be able to read chat as usual because, you know, this is serious shit. Copium. No, it's fine, it's fine. I can read chat like every once in a couple of minutes, but other than that, not really. Die. I need to score. Die. Right, let's go. Pizza time. There we go. Let's go. I didn't get the bell. Okay, it's fine. Okay, that's probably a bit faster. I'm not really sure actually. Oh, good. Die. Whatever. I hate the fork knights over there. That fork knight is placed in a really weird place. Ah. Ready to get funky? Wow, okay. Okay, we're close to S rank. We should be okay. If worst comes to worst, we still can taunt on the door. That's still an option. Fuck you. I need to score. I'll take as much score as I can get. Okay, we got S. Cool. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're chilling. We just need to not press restart. There we go. Ooh, okay. I think I know why I pressed restart. It's because restart is above exit, and I was holding up. So instead, I ended up pressing restart instead. I ended up holding up first. Alright, Blood Sauce Dungeon? I do not like this place. I especially do not like this room in particular. Worst fucking room in the game. For that reason in particular. Luckily, lava doesn't kill your combo, but still. Time save for the restart. Oh, okay. I also do not like this secret. I have fall down many times in the secret. But we're good now. God, there's so much like surprisingly tight jumps for like a first world level. This is definitely like one of the hardest first world level. And even that, no, actually, like even I feel like it just in general, it's just a really hard stage to master. Crazy they put this on World 1. Oh, Spencer. Like, the lava not doing damage is nice, but also it still can potentially kill your combos, which is crazy. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Right. I should be able to jump on here. Cool. I'll get Jerome on the way out. Spencer die. And in here, whoop. Okay, I remember the layout of this level relatively clearly because I have to replay the stage for God knows how many times. The stage is quite a bitch. Paranoid. Okay. Ow. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of food to recover. Ow. Whatever. I'm going out. Fuck you. That Spencer in particular is stupid. I'm just gonna super taunt you. Fuck you. Bye-bye. This is a good stage, don't worry, you expect to throw combo here, but then you hit cow in Oregano Dessert Market. I actually kind of got used a little bit on the Oregano Dessert Cow Market thing. Oh no, the one in particular that always got me is the one with the thunder and the market. That one was terrible, but I think like as long as you immediately begin your dash when you enter the door, the thunderclouds are timed perfectly to just not hit you, which is nice. I believe in you, Pizza Enjoyer. Thank you very much. I definitely need the believers. Ready to get funky. Also, this super jump I always fail, but luckily not this time. That super jump, I keep on failing and ended up missing my combo. That happens a lot. I can still lose my combo here though. Or maybe not. Cool, I made that jump. That jump was a little bit tight, but we good. We still gotta do second lap though. Ah. Oh. Okay, that's an intentional speedrun strat that I totally wasn't trying to super jump instead. P rank. Alright, lap 2, let's go. Blood Sauce Dungeon. If I can P rank Blood Sauce Dungeon in one try, that would be kind of a miracle. Well, I mean, I think P ranking Blood Sauce isn't too terrible. What is terrible is getting the fucking chef task. Not getting hit by the lava is kind of insane. And to an extent, the pizza cutter too. I'm pretty sure I already got hit by both. I got hit by lava earlier, and I got hit by pizza cutter in the secret. Ah, come on! Why did I super jump there? What was that? Oh, don't go there. Ooh, that was good. We got it. Alright, that's all S here. Let's move on. Next stage. Okay, I don't think I can skip that animation. Lava Boost is the meta strat. It is definitely like one of the easier strat for sure than like super jumping. But I like super jumping because super jumping is fun. Plus this is okay unless you do both lava and P rank at the same time. Yep. Think is streaming at the same time. Yeah, I saw when I was going live. I saw on the front page of Twitch, it's like other streamers that are live that you might like, and it's Pink Kitty Rose doing 100% speedrun. And it's just like, yep, she's on the grind again. At least it's not 101. 101 speedrun is kind of crazy. Wow, chef task complete. I totally did not do that by accident. Oop. Okay, there we go. Paranoid. I also sometimes lose my combo in this secret in particular. Sometimes I kind of just like fail the body slam. I don't know why. It's actually kind of tied. For some reason, the window on the fact that you need to body slam that and your combo timer is actually really close. That was a waste of time, but I like doing that. Give me a chicken, bartender. The chef task was also a speedrun strat? Wait, which chef task? Oh, you mean the rain dance, yeah. Ow. Yep, for style points. Not that it's faster, it's just I just like doing that. Because he does it on the trailer. He does the same thing on the trailer, on the same exact spot, so I thought it would be funny. Meanwhile, Believer's in shambles because I mess around too much. Reset my combo, please. Thank you. Oh, there we go. House screen coming up soon. Alright, I'm just gonna let myself get kicked by the cow. It's intended. Thank you for the chicken. Okay, be a little bit slower here. There we go. Pass through that. Kill him. Kill him just because, why the hell not? Kill this guy. Get the TNT. Get the food because why not? Oop, there we go. There we go. Chef task failed. Which chef task? Oop. Oop, oop, oop. Oh, the cow, right. Sorry. My mind is a little bit like lag behind. It's like I'm reading chat like a little bit later after I already do what I'm doing. Oh, wow, I didn't... Wow, I've never skipped a cow like that before. That's crazy. Oh! I probably don't need that, but it's fine. Oop, here we go. It's smart. Yeah, this one, if you just immediately start the dash, you won't actually get hit, which is nice. You just gotta be fast. Paranoid. Alright, pizza time. It's hard. Hello there. Ooh, that was close. No! Oh, come on. Oh, fucking hell. Die. Do I still keep the combo at least? Oh, I do! Okay, cool. Oh, that doesn't skip the cutscene. Alright, that's fine. I don't know if that's faster, but it's funnier that way. Ow. Ready to get funky. Oh. Score. Not that I need it, but... Gimme. Thank you. Ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, go. A bit slower than ideal, but that's fine. Poor cows. Oh, I didn't kill that guy. Okay, that's fine. We should still have enough score. Okay, cool. Alright, and second lap, P rank, let's go. Getting P rank right now in this stage always kind of reminds me how there's this optional area, like right here. There's an optional area on the left where you can get extra points, and it's just like, you really don't need to go to that area to get P rank. It's kind of just there. It gives you extra points for taking quite a decent amount of time to actually. But like, you really don't need it. You get way more than enough for P ranking or S ranking. Alright, there we go. Next. Would you believe we managed to P rank at least one level in every floor? I think that's not unlikely. I mean, there's quite a lot of levels in every floor, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for P ranks. Oh wait, I need to get the top in here. What's over? Oh right, secret over here. Do I keep the combo? Do I keep the combo? I do. Okay, cool. That's the weirdest secret ever, and also, frankly, one of the weirdest placement for a secret too. It's such a bad placement for a secret. Also, this room is also surprisingly tight. Like, look at my combo. That was a close one, and it's always like that. That room is surprisingly really tight. Oh, there we go. Never seen this game. This game is so good. Hi, Jerome. There's a very specific room in this level that is near impossible to go through while Pizza Face is chasing you. Are you talking about the one where you become a ghost during the chase? Because that is like, you are super slow while you're being a ghost. You don't really get that much movement. There we go. Ooh. Because I think I actually did like saw someone playing Pizza Tower the other day, and they were running out of time, and they run out of time a little bit earlier in this level, but they still managed to outrun Pizza Face for the most part until they get into that room where you just have to like go through as the ghost, and it just like completely halts the movement. Just like dies immediately. Thank you. Where are we going? Oh, there's a treasure here. Here we go. Is it the one where you have to turn constantly? Oh, okay, that one too, yeah. That one makes sense. But I also think the ghost is probably near impossible to outrun as well. I probably didn't need to do that, but that's fine. I wonder if that screwed me up over something. Probably the kill 20 guys chef task or something. There we go. I hear explosions. Cool. Right, next one. Oh, on my first playthrough, entering that pizza box was like hell for some reason. Twirling so good. It's this room, I think? Yeah, it's this room, right? I'd imagine. I don't see any way to outrun Pizza Face here. Also, this I still think like Waste Yard for what is essentially like one of the first floor 2 level is like actually kind of fucking hard for a casual play. There's so much rooms to go through during escape. Like, I'm pretty sure, as well as I'm doing right now... Hello? Why didn't it break the box? What the fuck? What was that? What the fuck was that? Why did the box not break? That's insane. That's kind of fucked up. Rip P rank, yeah, but we should still be able to get S rank, I think. But yeah, it's like for a casual playthrough, this stage is hella fucked. And like even for me right now, doing just any generic 2 laps is already really hard. Well, not really hard, more like it's always a clutch. Like I always almost run out of time. Which, you know, I can outrun Pizza Face, but it's not ideal. Come on. Like, I only have 1 minute left. And there's so much of the level still. And also just the fact that like the John Ghost is like really punishing. Okay, I'll just walk through there. Like John Ghost is stupidly punishing. 30 seconds left, oh my god. Also, there is something that I learned, which is that on lap 2, you don't need to get the 3rd ghost peppers. I just realized that you can just grab the 2 ghost pepper that you need. Actually, I'm not really sure if you even need any ghost pepper, but I think it's just good to get the 2 ghost peppers because it's on the way and they boost your speed. Okay, there we go. Right! Lost an achievement, that is true. Come to Mr. Stick. No, I'll go to Fun Farm instead. Let's go. I timed out on this stage a lot on my first playthrough. Yeah, it's actually like a really scary room. Not room, just level in general. Like even even getting used to it earlier, I only had like what, like 10 seconds left on my clock, like 5 seconds left on my clock. And like, yeah, I made a mistake, but also it's like if that's one mistake, how about like getting in a casual playthrough where you make a lot of mistakes? Like mega punishes you. Oh, okay. This room is very satisfying. I came to your stream just to say cringe streamer, thank you. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, can I still get it? I can! Nice! This fucking farmer's need, please. Potato ass farmer, please. Paranoid. There we go. Mort! Let's go. The potato genocide room. It's so good. It's really satisfying, and you can also like optionally like grab the first potato farmer and just throw it to everybody else, which is also fun. Also, it's kind of funny how like calming the music is for this part. I usually go through the other way around, but this is fine too. Combo, thank you. More cube. I don't think I have time for more cube. I actually have tried to get like P rank on while also doing the more cube before, and it's like it's really tight. It's really tight. Well, not really tight, but I think it's also just the fact that you need to spare one of the potato guys. Because if you don't spare them, you just don't really have anything to combo out of. Also, I always remember to duck over there. That's actually like important. Alright, not a fun secret, this one. Double jump there we go. Hey, pretty good. I need combos. Thank you. There we go. And in here, for some reason, this one potato farmer often kills my combo. Alright, I don't care about you guys. I'm just gonna go straight. Okay, I'm still gonna grab that though. But I need to taunt you guys because it's fun. Also, I need to remember to stop here because I always fall there. I've learned my lesson to not just run in. What's over here again? Oh, it's this thing. Okay. Ow. There we go. Here. And treasure here? Yep. And of course, I'm glad I spared that one potato guy, because Gustavo always kills them. And that's good for combo. Good for keeping combo while you grab the treasure. Ah, whoops. We're good. P rank. Let's go. Does he? Yep. Gustavo kills him. Gustavo kills him for you. And that would still count to your combo. So you kind of just have to like leave him live. Ah, I don't need to do that. See, we got here with like 40 seconds left. Meanwhile, Waveyard got you with like 10 seconds on the clock, 5 seconds. Yeehaw, delivery boy. Aim with his Gustavo. Salute already pressed. I'll try. I'll try. I'll see if I can actually get already pressed. It most likely won't happen, but... Fucking bullets. Oop. Oop. There we go. I love this wiener dog transformation. Also, this is where I accidentally double click a lot, but that's fine. Alright, cool, we got it. That rat got me a lot too. Booba rat. Booba rat. There we go. Booba rat and Booba and Kobe still remains one of my favorite scared enemy animation. Don't understand what's going on here. There we go. Don't understand what's going on here. Oh my god, no! I did not get already pressed. Achievement failed. Wait, why do I keep on not grabbing the hot dog? And also my combo too. Oh well. There we go. I always miss that one because I do slide. I remember that rat because it's there. Yeah! It has definitely ruined the fair share of runs. I'm not appearing every level, but floor 2 has such BS secrets that I can't remember easily. Yeah, a lot of secrets are not really that great. Like this one in particular. Who would have seen that one? You would be focused on already getting the key. Oh, I actually got them all. Nice. My fingers hurt. What other chef tasks are there in Saloon? I'm actually a little bit surprised there's no chef task for like beating the horse. Well, no, I guess the reward is toppins, so. Okay, we already got don't press, so we're just gonna go press the button anyways, because that's way faster and safer. Oop. Okay, there we go. I also sometimes lost my combo here. Oh my god. No! Don't shoot me. Die. Right here. Destroy almost every beer bottle. Oh right, get all the cards, right. Beer bottle, most of them are on second lap, right? Second lap portal, I mean. Oop. Not even close, baby. Da, 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 da. Oop. Da, 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 da. Oh no, I missed the parts. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Fuck. Oh, okay, cool. Well, not that I need it, but. Go. Oh, that's not enough beer bottles. All right. Wait, S? Oh right, because I fucked the combo up. I totally forgot about that. But we got an S, so that's good anyways. Get out. Oh! Hello? What the fuck? I got stun locked. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. I actually could not get out of that animation. Whatever. I only have 15 seconds left. Can't really fuck around too much anymore. Okay, there we go. Yes, there we go. Alright, time for Vigi. Move too hard, really do. Let's go. Alright, I need to remember, like, whenever he's on like his third bounce or so, I can start charging his attack. That's so fast. Oh no, I missed the charge shot. Ah, damn. Oh fuck, okay. I can only grab, like, hit one or twice. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. How didn't even drop. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah, but the cow dropped. Damn. Oh. Oh my god, stop dropping cows. Oh. Attack these boots. Die. Alright, cool. That's 1 damage, I think. That's good. Did you know about the broken minigun the noise have? Yep, I've seen, who was it that does it? Was it you, Joseph? I think it was you, right? You were the one who was streaming with, like, funny command lines and then have, like, noise with the shotgun. Actually, like, after this run, I do want to kind of show the funny things you can use with, like, the command lines, too. Because I was actually kind of, like, testing around the command lines earlier as well. Wait, but can you actually select noise from the debug? Or do you need, like, a patch for that? I thought you need something for that. Can you actually just do it vanilla? Let's go. There we go. I don't need to do this, but it's funny. Come in, Mr. DJ. Take to the break. How are we 1 hour in already in the speedrun? Like, Jesus. It's like, just thinking about the fact that the world record is like just above 1 hour, like, and we're just in this floor. Oops. Like, we gotta go through all 3rd floor and 4th floor and 5th floor, and like, fucking hell, that's crazy. I mean, we did fail Ancient Cheese earlier, but, you know. You type in debug, press F5, that's the only way to do it without mods. Oh, okay. I'll see it later then. I probably will mess around with the debug option after this stream. Or rather, after this attempt, I guess. Die. Where are we going? Oh, here. Hey. Oh, fuck. Oh, oh my god. Oh my god, I got wombo comboed. Oh, okay. You just straight up cannot even touch the wall here. Oh, no! Oh, fuck. Oh, I can't get back here. Wait, can I? Wait, do I go back here on escape? I don't I? I don't. No, I don't. Fuck, I actually have to restart for that. Jesus, that's so fucked. That's actually mean. That's hella mean. I haven't played Crosscove in a while, so I totally forgot about that. Alright, let's not try to grab like all of the fucking the thing. Oh, really? That's not enough speed? Okay. Oh my god! What? That doesn't count? Really? Okay, so I can't turn around. Oh fuck! I dashed. I need a combo. Right, I can't dive. I can't do shit. I just have to hold dash. Ooh, that's crazy. Da, da, da. Among Us door. Ooh. You can also do rune check and get some trippy stuff. I heard that doesn't. I actually saw like some list of commands. Didn't rune check like deletes your save data or something like that after finishing it? I don't actually know what it looks like, but I heard it deletes your save data afterwards. That's a lot of text that I can't read. I'm sorry, I'm illiterate. At least when I'm like trying to speedrun. Oh my god, fucking tacky, get out! Alright, trying to remember to not fuck up. Right. Oh, my combo is dead? Okay, whatever. We should still be okay with rank, I hope. No, I should start getting the treasure chest if I lack rank. Hey, I got this one though. Pow! Oh my god, it hits twice. Ow. Okay, I need a rank. That's like, how many is that? Like 15, 20? It's not bad. Come in, Mr. DJ. Let's go. Oh! Pow. One more. Pow. Tacky like battle cats? I mean, yes, that's actually the reason why we call it tacky, because of battle cats tacky. Die. You fool. You've fallen into one of my traps. Oh! Uh-oh. Good. Yeah, that's like a good like 20 food or so. That's really good. Let's go. Oh, I hate this section. If you lose your barrel, it's over. It's Jover. It's Joarida. Okay, just take it a little bit slow. No need to go crazy. Okay, there we go. Good. Oops. Okay. Have I done this one? Oh, I haven't. Okay, cool. Oops. There we go. Oh, are you serious? Oh, I lost my combo from that too. It's because I lost. I missed a single jump. God damn it. Oh! Are you serious? Do I need it? Oh, okay, there's a barrel here. Cool. I swear I never failed this section because it's literally just hold, but I was trying to be fancy. I was trying to be fancy and do some weird shit. No, open up. Stop super jumping! I need score. I need score all badly. No, maybe we're fine. I think we're fine. Maybe we're fine. Also, I know there's the pizza tower guy on the bottom, but I have no time. Okay, I don't actually need the barrel here, don't I? Yeah, I don't. Okay, it's fine. Let's go. I actually don't think I need the barrel here either. Fuck off. Oh my god! Pizza Goblin explosion, please. Fuck, I still only got A. Okay, hold on. What? I only have... Do I have time for this? I'm gonna chance it. I need the S rank. Bro! Where's my rank? Yeah, I need to restart anyways. I need to restart. No, I should have just taunted on the door actually. What am I thinking? I should have just taunted on the door. And also I need all of the treasure chests now. That's 2 stages failed. That sucks. I think if I keep up my combo, I don't need to go for the treasure chest, so I'll probably only go... I'll go for it if it's along the way. And also, I lost my combo. I don't need P rank, but I do... It would be nice to keep my combo. And since we're only just starting off, I think it's fine. I need to go here. Get a break. Hi, Mike. The run is not going so well. I felt like basically 2 stages, including this one. Well, not failed, quote-unquote failed, because on Ancient Cheese, I just straight up, like, made a mistake where I accidentally restarted the level. But this one I actually failed, because I didn't have enough points to get S ranks, and I need the S rank. Oh, hello. Okay, cool. This music's so good. Mix. Hey, speedrun strats. Ooh. Are you serious? Okay, I still got it. Cool. Where do I need to... Here. Cool. Okay, we got it. Actually, I failed this... Technically speaking, I guess I failed this stage twice because I missed the secret earlier too. And I couldn't get back on it. So this stage have been the most time-consuming one so far. Oh, fuck. Okay, good. Okay, that's fine. 2, 3. Die. Whew. Next. Oh, I got a parry. How? Right, let's go. I keep on getting hit by that. Luckily, the next cannon is fast enough for me to still be able to keep my combo going. Die, you fool. Oh! Yeah, I kinda want the combo, thank you. Alright, let's go. Fucking hell. I hate barrel transformation so much. Why does Hoofa like this? So fucking slippery, I don't like it. And also just the fact that like if you fail something badly, you just die. Ooh! Okay. That's good. Do I even have enough rank for this? Right, let's be calmer and not do anything weird. Because I also lost my combo over here. You should try the randomizer mod for Pizza Tower. I'm not generally interested in mod. Unless it's not like that different from the original game. I generally don't really like using mods. I kinda just want... Unless it's like... I don't know. In general, there's a lot of mods that are kind of just like... Oh wait, what am I doing? Kind of like takes the experience away, in my opinion. Ah, fucking hell. Die. P? P. Let's go. It's time for P. Crazy how much like combos can really change the score. Like, I already got a P right at the beginning of lap 2. Even though I basically did like the same thing as earlier. The only difference is basically I lost combo a couple of times. Okay, whatever. Fine. We can take the barrel. 40 seconds, we got this. da 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 da. Okay, there we go. We got it. All right, cool. E indeed. Gnome Forest next. Back to that guy. Let's go. Okay. I like to keep that one Fork Knight alive. Oh my god! You're fucking kidding me. How did I fail the easiest parry of all time? Pow! There we go. Chef task complete. Wait, I forgot to find a bee. I need to find a bee. Bee! Chef task complete. Alright, let's go, Gustavo. I think they update this room so that you don't lose combo here anymore, don't you? He did not destroy every wood block. He shall now be punished for not destroying wood blocks. Oh! Oh, there's something on my throat. I need to drink after this. Ugh. Why do you have bunny ears? That's a good question. I find it funny. Did I miss something? Oh my god. Wait, did I miss something up there? I don't think so, right? I think it's just like 2 guys or some shit. Oh my god, my throat. I really need to drink after this. Not the actual reason? Wait, what? I keep on like not remembering what I said like 10 seconds ago. I'm very sorry. Cheese slime and the big topping. Alright, I think we're good without that. Oh. Oh my! Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, wait. My god, fucking Spencer, man. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We still got this. As long as we don't make a second mistake, probably. There we go. There we go. Good stuff. Nice. Where are we going? Oh, here. Double jump here. And it's time for the empty room. Or wait, is it? Oh no. I think empty room is more ahead. It's still ahead. It's still far, I think, actually. Not even close. There we go. Okay, this desert also have definitely caused a fair share of pain. Oh fuck, I need speed. Oh no, I lost my combo. Will I still be able to do this? Probably if I don't take that much damage, I say as I take damage. There we go. Oh, come on. Parrying the cactus sucks. The pickle, the guy. The green goblin of menace. Okay, now I need the I need the scores for sure. Ah, whatever. The fucking yodeling is so funny. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me? I lost my combo again. I fucking hate Gnome Forest. I only got B so far. Should I restart now? I'm not entirely feeling confident that I can get the S. I think it's fine to try still. Ooh. I don't want to waste too much time if I can't get an S. What? Wait, what? I didn't even see the arrow, okay. Meanwhile, this one I'm already used to knowing how to do it, sorta. And I still failed anyways, because of course. Bro, Gnome Forest, please. I think we might be fucked. I mean, we haven't gotten second lab, we haven't gotten treasure. And like second lab and treasure are usually about like half of like barely slightly above half of A rank. So maybe it's fine. Oh, bro, get in. Whatever. I don't care. Oh my god, you've heard Gustavo 10 times. Back to that guy. Oh, I'm not entirely sure. No, that's so bad. Okay, I don't think it's happening. I'll restart. I don't think it's happening. I don't think we have enough score for S. Lap 2 is only gonna give us a little bit more than that. I think it's better to just restart than trying to waste time finishing the run. Ooh. I'll go for now. We'll watch the VOD later. Good luck with sub 245. Thank you. It's probably not gonna happen, honestly, but I'm still a bit surprised that there's that much people putting in Believe. Like I already said, my last one was like 310 or something like that. I had to cut down a lot. Right. Okay, as long as we keep the combo, quote unquote, hopefully it should be fine. Okay, I'm just gonna like ignore those fucking pickles. Right. Pizzard. Oh, I didn't. God, whatever. I don't need to kill him. It's fine. Just a little score. The big top end is probably more important. I wonder how you're supposed to do this one, like, nicely. Every time I do it, it feels so awkward. Run in. Okay, cool. Whoop, there we go. Yeah. Okay, let's just ignore the pickles. There we go. Oh, arrow. Ooh, that was close. I should have killed that pizzard. Here we go. Good stuff. Oh, fucking hell. I keep on getting hit by there. Oh, I need speed. Ooh, saved. Nice. 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 Good stuff so far. Nice. Okay. There's quite a lot of obstacle gone past. Let's just go here. Die. Fucking perish. Oh my god. Get the fuck out of my way. Never speak to me again about pickles. I would not like pickles on my burger, please. No, actually, pickles on burgers are good. Just pickles on pizza? No, that's weird. Why is pickles on burger good, but pickles on pizza aren't? It's like, I feel like pizza and burger are like essentially the same thing. Sorta. I guess pizza is much more cheese-oriented, but... Go. Maybe that is why. Maybe it is just because it's cheese-oriented. Oh my god! Fuck off! Die! I hate you all. Oh, hello? Do 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 do. There we go. We got it. Nice. Okay, we got A rank here. That's a good sign, I think. Question mark. We still keep the combo going, so that should, like, tremendously increase, I think. Do 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 do. Okay. Da 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 da. Die. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Brick, for clearing the way. Die. Get out of my way! We still only are at low A rank, but I think because of the high combo, it should be good. Oh wait, second lap. We're still missing one more secret, I think, which is near the entrance. We still need to go do that, but we got S, which is good. Now I'm wondering if I should have just stick with my guts and keep going with the rank on my previous attempt. Now I'm kind of regretting it. I'm kind of regretting giving up early on that. I feel like I should have just kept going, and I might get the S rank. That place is so weird. What? We keep the combo at least. Not that we are P ranking yet, but if we get the secret, I think it should be a P rank. Not that we need a P rank, but you know. Oh! Da 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 da. Here it is. Go. Hey, there we go. P rank. There we go. Come to Mr. Stick to rent the boss gate. But first, we gotta do golf. Let's go. The thing with Gustavo and Brick is that they literally can't turn at high speeds. Yeah. Like, they're like super heavy. Because they are literally like two things at once, so. Primoberg. Ah! Wait, where's the goal? Oh, right there. Okay, I remember to not just like hit the guy right there. Ah! we go. Ah, fuck. Notes? Okay, cool. This also, Good Eden, the name of the soundtrack for this stage, is also really good. Wait, actually, it's like the music on high? Oh, it is. Huh. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Get that ping, please. Thank you. Go. There we go. There we go. More. There we go. I probably should have waited a little bit. That's fine. Unprimos your berg. No, it's fine. We're gonna get primal berg on everything. Fuck these gold demons. Okay, we're gonna do that secret later. Oh, fuck. Ow. Oh, cool. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh. Okay, it's fine. It's not a P rank, but we should try to at least get Primal Berg. Hey, yo, helpful Berg, let's go. Oh, fuck. Which one is this? Oh, it's this one. We're also not going to get that. Yep, damn it. Okay. At least we got the cheese. I don't think we're gonna keep the combo either way. Oh, this is bad. That's fine. Not easy to get S due to Primal Berg? Really? I hope so. Berg course. Also, I love how they fucking sample the microwave over here for the music. Oh no, they bumped me up. Good eating. Good eating. Good eating. Good eating. Good eating. Good eating. It's still so funny just looking everybody die like that. Oop, there we go. There we go. And also the sound of like someone slurping. Whoop. Oh no! Fuck. Ah, I lost my combo because of that. Okay. Fucking hell. Paranoid. I don't feel like Primal Berg gives that much though. Like, it gives a decent amount, it doesn't give that much. Kinda just basically gives like... Fucking hell, come on. Alright, should I do the thing? Wait, hold on. I need to kill this guy. Let's do the thing. Am I fast enough? Oh, I can't. Yes, let's go! Get fucked! This does not... You know what? This probably is detrimental. This probably is detrimental because I actually kind of need the... I kind of need the S rank. And I kind of need any points that I could get. But instead I decided to do the funny. Oh fuck! I forgot to grab... Oh, I forgot to grab the janitor as well. I'll grab it on lap 2. I'll grab it on lap 2. It's fine. I should probably take my time to grab any points that I see. By that, like this one. Because I am shaving off a lot of time, so I might as well use that time wisely for something. Oh. Fastest lap 1 ever. Okay, time to grab, not you. I mean you. There we go. Oh, fucking hell. I still don't understand why there's so much of them right here. Fuck off! Oh my god, get out. Get out of my sight. Ow! Oh! Go! Go! Oh! Oop, there we go. Primalberg. Oh my god. No, put me back. Oh fuck, I don't think I'm getting the S. I don't think I'm getting the S. God damn it. All because I did the funny. Oh wait, no. Treasure. I totally forgot. We still have treasure. I think it might be possible. That's right. Oh my god, not quite. No. Yeah, we can still taunt. And also, I'm just gonna have to kill every enemy on the way. That's not enough. Okay. No, I need to get the points. That's not enough. I have 44 seconds. Let's try to find something. 40 seconds. Surely there's something that we can find. I need to get back at like 20 seconds though. No, actually, I can outrun Pizza Face. Honestly, it's a pretty straightforward level. Fuck, but there's nothing. There's fucking nothing. No, I'm going to restart anyways. I'm going all out. We have to find something. If we have to outrun Pizza Face, so be it. Nah, there's fucking nothing. There's nothing. Alright. Let's not do the funny. Let's not do the funny this time around. Oh, I actually got an eggplant rank. Cue that one gif of A rank very nice from Bart Simpson. Okay, I did the thing. Oh, what happened? Oh, die. Woo. Oh. Go. Go straight. Ba ba ba. He ranked very nice. I think you were like less than 100 points from winning S. Oh god. Really shouldn't skimp out on the things, huh? Oh right, that's this one. Oop. Nice. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, that should be good. Let's move on. Good eating. Good eating. Okay, but what if I do the funny again? if I keep my combo, I might do the funny thing again. But if I lose my combo, I don't think it's worth trying. Oh! Damn it, no, that's not what I want. Ow! No! Okay. Oop. Then doing the left one skip screwed you over. Oh, maybe. But if I keep my combo, though. What if I keep my combo? Whatever. Fuck you. Oh, die. Ow. I'm a chuckster. I never actually played Mario Sunshine. Then again, I feel like I don't actually play that much Mario in general. I did play Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, and those were amazing. But Mario Sunshine also seems to be really praised, but also at the same time, really janky. Like, there's a lot of things. Oh, wow, the combo ended? Where? When the fuck did the combo ends? Okay, I guess I'm not doing the left one skip. What was I talking about again? Mario Sunshine. I heard there's a lot of like janks that is just like not so fun. Ow. Oh my god, stop that shit. Okay, it's fine. I need the extra. I need the extra points anyways. Oh, but A rank though? What if I do the funny? Nah, fuck it, let's go. Let's not repeat our mistake. I'm so tempted though. I'm so tempted to just fuck it, go. Da, 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 da. Ooh. Why is there so much gold demon? Oh my god. Wait, where's the gold? Oh, it's right there. There's so much gold demon in the screen. That's crazy. Da, 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 da. Oh fuck. Da, da, da. Oh my, no! No! Get me off! Get me off! Gold ball? Oh my god. Somehow I keep my combo. Not anymore. Not for long, unfortunately. Oh my god! What was that? Oh. There we go. When you eventually get a Switch, play Mario Odyssey. I actually do have a Switch. Well, not really have. More like it's my friend's. My friend lent me a Switch because he bought a Switch and he doesn't really play much on it. He played Fire Emblem Three Houses. Oh fuck! I missed the room. Okay, let's do it in lap 2. He bought Fire Emblem Three Houses and played a little bit. Got bored and stopped playing, and then decided to not really buy any other games. And since I was interested in the Switch, he was like, I'll lend it to you. And then I played like Kirby demo, and then that's it. I also ended up not playing anything else. Man, Switch games are really fucking expensive, aren't they? Where are we going? Oh, right here. Like, I am not actually really used to like $60 game. Like, $60 game is a bit much for me. Not that I can't buy it. I mean, I do. I basically have 2 jobs after all. But it's still a lot. Like, I would never really buy a game that is like fucking $60 and never going on discount. Pretty sure the most expensive game that I bought is like DBFZ, which even then was on discount. No, actually, it probably is Pizza Tower. Now that I think about it, Pizza Tower is probably the most expensive game that I've ever bought. Because it was like $20 without discount, right? And I bought it without discount. So Pizza Tower probably is the most expensive game that I buy. Which, you know, probably speaks volumes about how much I try to save money. Not that I need to. It's just in my genes. It's just in my Asian genes. Old games tend to go on sale? On Switch? I thought... I mean... Does Switch ever go on... I don't know. I don't know. Does Nintendo games ever go to sale? I think that's the better question. S rank. A rank. S rank. Ah. Fuck you. Alright. Oh my god, we lost so much time. Yeah, sure. Buy it. I still have the Deep Dish 9 after this. What if I go to Deep Dish 9 now? Where is Deep Dish 9 again? Is it here? Oh yeah, here it is. Why buy Nintendo Switch games if you can buy Pizza Tower 3 times? Exactly! Sometimes over holidays. Oh, really? I can buy multiple indie games and 2 fan games for the price of a Switch game. Yeah, it's like... I don't know. I just can't fathom spending $60 on a game. It's like, yes, I'm sure you worked hard on the game and everything, and like, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. It's not like just because pure greed, but still, it's like, that's a lot. It's not that I find it too expensive for what it's worth. I'm fucking... I can't go back, can't I? God damn it. It's not that I find it, like, more expensive than it's worth. It's just, like, it's just expensive. That's it. It probably is, like, worth the cost and everything. It's just not worth for me. Kinda like buying rings or some shit. But it's like, yes, I'm sure there's a good reason behind why rings are super expensive. Maybe not that good of a reason, but there's a possibly somewhat justifiable reason on why rings are expensive, but I really don't need a ring. There we go. Where the dish is deep. Fuck. There we go. I spent 100 on Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles and its DLC. God damn. And I haven't had the time to play it? What the fuck? People with like gacha games. I thought you said 100 hours and I'm like, oh okay. I guess that's worth, but then it's like $100 and you haven't even played it. What the fuck? Whee! $60 is too much of a commitment for an experience that you don't even know you like. Yeah, that is true. I think like it also comes to a point where it's like, okay, if I am I satisfied with just watching people play? If the answer is yes, then you know, why do I need to buy this? I think Pizza Tower is different because it's like it's such a different experience playing it, and like the whole fun is just like really experiencing it and like doing cool shit. Like that's just why I like games where you do cool shit, because then it feels like this is an experience that you can't get by simply like this is not an experience that you can get by simply watching someone play. And like you gotta be there to actually you gotta actually play to really experience it to the fullest, right? So it feels like the money that you spent is like completely well spent. Xenoblade series went from underrated to way too overrated. Really? I don't really know much about Xenoblade except for what like except for when Bloodsy on Twitter randomly talks about it. I don't even remember where do I even know Bloodsy from. I think I just got recommended to his tweets one day and I thought, oh, he's kind of funny. I'll follow this guy. Bullshit, you say feels like you'll enjoy Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread does look really cool. I did saw Vinny play it, and it does look really nice, but also, you know, it's a Nintendo game. I mean, it's not that Nintendo games aren't bad, but also it's like it's kind of expensive, and also requires like a console and shit. And that being said, I do really want to try. I would love if I could try Return to Dreamland Deluxe, because like that shit looks mad dope. Hello. No, fuck off. Activate! This is where I lost my combo, of course. Damn it. It's fine. I think we should still be on track for S. Have you played original on the Wii? Yes! That's kind of the reason why I really want to try. It's like, I know how good it is on the Wii. And like, yeah, sure, Deluxe is kind of the same here and there, but also it's like just the fucking fact that like Magolor, okay, well, spoilers and shit, but like, you know, and the extra mode actually looking kind of fucking insane. Like the health bar you get on extra mode is mega small, which I thought is interesting. Ah! Must still get A due to the deep dish being quite a time scale. No, I think we got it, because like I still haven't gotten treasure. Activate! Oh my god. Yeah, I definitely should be able to get S with treasure, I think. Probably, I hope so. There's a lot of in-game stuff like Hollow Knight and Rabi Ribi you gotta play to understand the experience fully. Yeah, it's like, the reason why I played Robbie Reeby was because I looked at the Gamedal covered MR Miru's team. Oh my god, it's not enough. Oh fuck. Well. Hold on. There's nothing. What the fuck? Really? I missed like one combo. That's insane. I actually have to P rank this. Oh my god, that's fucked. Yeah, Deep Dish 9's escape is like really short is the thing too. There's like very little thing in between. Okay, I actually gotta fucking destroy everything then. I feel like my previous run is way better than this. Oops. What was I talking about again? Oh, Gamedal. I saw him covering MR from, I think it was a Patreon request. And I looked at it and I was like, huh, the gameplay, oh fuck. The gameplay looks like really fucking insane. And like, it's like, I gotta try this out myself, kind of deal. Like, I think a lot of the times I would say a easy way to mark what is a good game or not by just looking at the trailer is how much of the trailer uses actual gameplay. If the trailer is like 95% gameplay, there's like and the trailer looks good, that's a good chance that the game itself is also really good. That being said, Robbie Reeby's trailer does have a lot of like the dialogues which are like that's probably one of the weaker parts of Robbie Reeby. It's still nice. I think like Robbie Reeby dialogues are kind of funny. But like a lot of the majority of the charm in the Robbie Reeby trailer is just looking at like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening on the screen? This looks so fucking cool. I want to try this. And with Pizza Tower, I see what's going on. Yeah, Pizza Tower's trailer also is like basically all gameplay. Oh no! Okay, can I get you on the way out? Hold on. No, I think I need to get you now, can't I? Oh my god, you asshole pickle. Okay, hold on. I need this. Okay, I need this. I need as much score as possible. Oh, okay. We got it. Oh boy. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's probably fine. Chef task complete. See, it's fine. Okay. Oh. I don't think I keep my combo here. Yep, I missed the olive. Oh my god, do I restart again? Oh. Shit, yeah, fuck, I hate it. Alright, I'll restart. Oh my god. I hate it. I'd restart, I don't trust Deep Dish. Oh, fucking hell. Ooh. I did not remember this stage being tough. Yeah, I need as much combo as possible too. Fuck it. Ah! Oh no! Okay. No! Fucking hell. Hey. 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 Deep Dish is short, but Christ, that's pain. Yeah. Oh! It's because it's tough because you can't break combo once you need that P. Yeah. It's like even if you want just S, you still need P. Oh, get out. Ooh. What was I talking about again? Oh my god, I lost track of conversations so easily. Games nowadays don't even show gameplay, they just show like flashy cutscenes. Yeah! I really don't like trailers that just like, okay, so what the fuck is the game about? Like, what am I playing this for? It's like, oh, we got pretty graphics and cool dragons. Okay. Pizza Tower also have dragon in the old tower. Oh, I need it. And my combo breaks. Okay, I think breaking combo once should be maybe okay. I'll see about it. I don't wanna reset like a winning run. I missed everything. Okay, at least there's that. Ooh. I need to kill like all of the olives along the way later on after this. Yeah, let's go. Oop. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, get all of the things that we can get. Wow, wow, wow. Wouldn't know unless you commit, yeah. Trailers that are just cryptic cutscene. Okay, no, hold on, I can't read. Not yet, I can't read, I need to focus a little bit still. There we go. Bop, bop, boom. Ah! Get out! Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I need the points. Here we go. Oh. Okay, I'll read your messages later. I cannot read for now. It's pizza time. It's focus time. Ah! Wait, I want the bell. I think that, who knows, that might save a run. Oh, die. Die. Oh, wait, what? No. What the fuck? Oh, okay, cool. We still keep our combo. Whew, alright. That bell is bait. It's fine. We need the combo. Ah, cheese. I still haven't done Jerome. It might be possible. It's not that far from S. We got 1 minute 22. I think this should be okay. I'm still gonna take as much points as I can. Okay, maybe let's not take the bell this time. Okay. Okay, that's high enough. If we get the treasure. Come on, Jerome, you gotta clutch it out. Da 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 da. No way! No way! What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, hold on. Taunt. Oh no, I missed my combo. Oh fuck. Alright, you need the combo. Son of a bitch. Are you serious? I missed one! Oh my god. That's insane. He loves deep dish. Oh, fucking well. I lost my combo once. That's so fucked. We're so close. That's crazy. I'm killing everybody. I'm killing you. I'm killing you. I don't care what anyone says. There is no, oh, running, oh, back off. No, I'm killing you. That's my mechanism right now. What? Oh. No! Fuck. Extraterrestrial Wawa will be stuck in your head after this. It probably will, but not for a good reason. I mean, to be fair, like, Pepino Sauce Factory is also, like, something that's been stuck in my head for quite a while. And not exactly because it's a good stage. But it's a good music, so it's hard to complain. Ooh, at least the music is banging, exactly. That's why I practice this level, oh god. Actual insane level. Nerk Rocket. Whoop. Wow. I think, like, in general, if we kill more Olives, we might be good in terms of just, like, general combo, but even then, it's like, do I really want to take the risk? Or are you kidding me? Why is your hitbox so long? That's not everyone, but that's fine. Oh my god, I was holding my breath for that. We barely missed the combo. I should stop speeding up with the rocket here. That's really dangerous. I should not be doing that. Die. Door stuck. Whoop. Man will experience war trauma in deep dish. You say that, but war is probably... I practice war so much, I'm actually very confident in war. War is like one of the stages that I've actually like practiced a lot and I thoroughly enjoy it. So it's like... I'm actually kind of confident that I can do war within at least like 2 tries. Or maybe even like 1 try. I think I can't do it with 1 try unless I do something like major. Oop. Oh. What? Oh fuck. There we go. But will he spare Snotty? Who knows? Oh. Die. Okay, we kept our combo. We might not need the bell. Oh, hello? Oh, no. There we go. What the fuck hit me? What the hell hit me there? What? There was nothing. War is fun if you know what you're doing. Yep, War is really cool. War is such a good ass level. What, still A rank? That's crazy. On most stages, this would have been S rank already, but I guess I haven't done Jerome. Maybe I should have done Jerome so that I know if this is enough for S rank or not. Okay, this is a bit higher than before. Surely this is it. What hit you the air? Oh, is it tacky? Really? I did not see that. Ah, oops, that's the wrong hole. P! Let's go! Oh my, stop giving me a rocket. Yeah, get fucked. Oh, alright. That's this floor done. God damn it. Time for D-Noise. Ooh, let's go. The tacky that lived and sniped him. Die! I love that frame one hit. It's so good. Die. Where? Oh, fuck. Okay, it's fine. We can still get one more. Pumping hot stuff. I'm tired looking at space. No more space. Oh, fuck! Okay, I stopped messing around. That's my last straw. I'm pretty sure if I get hit one more time, that's over for me. Yeah! Remind me, why does Noise own a planet? Why not? Boom. Here's another one. Get fucked, 2 damage, bitch. Get fucked. There we go. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, I clutched the fuck out of that. Oh, get fucked. Another 2 damage. Ow. Ow. There we go. Ah, fuck, I missed. Jump. Boing. Die. One more. Okay, I'm not chancing it with the projectile. Okay. Whew. S rank. Even though I completely fucked up that first phase, but it's good. Damn. Woman. Ugh. Let's go. Wife bad. Woman. Oh, get fucked, Noise. Alright. Floor 4 time. I need to scratch real quick. Man, this game is good. Hour 14. I only have 30 minutes to beat like all of floor 5 and floor 4. Yeah, that's not happening. I'm pretty sure that's not happening. I don't even know if I can get sub 3 hours at this point. Hey! To be fair, I did dick around too much, but you know. Will Snotty live or die? Find out next time in Dragon Ball Z. Hey. Oh, I need to take out my kazoo. Oh. Oh wait, what? You're not copying me? This stage is good. This stage is good. It's relatively short. It's so fucking funny. It has Gustavo, and the music is banger. Definitely easily one of the best stage. Except at one point has circus area transformation. I see. So that's where it's for. Oh no! It's fine. It's fine. It's not Deep Dish 9. We might still be able to get S. Will going to the bacon room like help me increase my score a little bit, just so that I can get like S? This might help. Who knows? Okay. See, that's a decent amount of score. Let's go. I still don't understand how Bite the Crust was originally an oh shit thing. I don't know. I mean, it's like currently oh shit's music is also like really good. It's definitely not shitty, but like current, I guess, but like the current oh shit team is really like TMNT like sort of feel. And I think that's kind of the point. Oh! These shrimp fresh. Straight from Aqua Farm. Aqua Farm. I've already made this joke before, but I still think it's funny. Hehehe, shitty. Yes, that's... Yep. The one from the sea, no good. Make you sick. There we go. Pick City might also be tied on score, really? Oh. Die. Bonk. Rat napper. Get out. Oh my god, get out. Oh wow, that hit me. Okay, fuck you. Die. Free my man Brick. He does not deserve all this. Go. Put that. Get it, Jerome. There we go. There we go. Frame one smoke. Honestly, that smoker pizza kinda crazy. Sometimes it really do be like destroying combos sometimes. There we go. Wait, what? Oh. Do I have time? Yes, nice. Can't you kill the pickups with super taunt? Probably. But no, I don't think you can super taunt while you don't have Brick though. I'm pretty sure to super taunt you need Brick. So I'm pretty sure you can't even do normal taunts without Brick. Okay, let's go. Hi. No. Let's go. Go. The score is not looking good. But we do keep our combo right now. It's not as high as it could have been, but it is pretty high. Get down. Okay, if we do lap 2... it might be possible. I keep on taunting in front of the pigs. It's just tradition. You just have to. Even if it doesn't net me the achievement, then unless I do it to everyone. Oh, we do get S. Okay, cool. Not P, but that's fine. Okay, so score is not a problem right now. We just need to escape, and Pig City escape is not that bad, at least from what I remember. Pig City is one of the shorter and easier escape. Yeah, it's like surprisingly really short. Because I guess it makes sense since like majority of the level are during inside the taxi. But even then, it's like Golf found a way to lengthen, you know, its course despite majority of the time you spent are doing Golf. Meanwhile, you got like you got the Waste Yard, which is like already a long stage, and then they increase the length of the stage even. Alright, let's go, Peppy Bot Factory. I pray you be nice today. Actually, I don't remember if Peppy Bot have, like, gore problem. God, I hope not, because, you know, I would hate to want to P-rank Peppy Bot again. Time for work to beat. Why does this stage have so much electrical sockets? It's actually insane. Oh. Oh. Die. Somebody scream. Also, I think the funny thing about this stage that like literally everybody agrees on is the fact that nobody knew how this guy works. Like the red guy, unless you've gone through that secret, nobody have ever seen the red guy actually doing an attack. Cause like people just run past him and it's just like, oh yeah. Ooh, smooth, nice. This better be the run then, because that doesn't usually happen. Da, 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 da. Oh. Fuck, no. P rank is the one that's brutal. Score isn't very tight. Okay, cool. In that case, that shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Da-da, 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 da-da. Ah! Oh, I'm wasting too much time. Also, I don't know why I'm pressing space like really hard on my keyboard. Like as if I wouldn't let go of space and I would die. Oh, rat. Let's go. Die. Okay. Oh. Hey, I got it. Nice. Oh. No! I need the rat, don't I? I do. Oh my god. Well, that's no P rank, that's for sure. Oh my god, get in! Okay. We do already have an A now, and we haven't gone to left 2, and we haven't gotten Jerome. So, are you fucking kidding me? I hate this room. That's a bunch of combos. Not sure how much that'll help though. Die. Alright. Ooh, nice. Fuck. Die. No, get down. Okay. Okay, now I'm not really sure about the score. Like, Oh. Die. Okay, give me the bomb now. Thank you. Alright, let's see. Oh. Ow. Okay. Okay, this is faster. There we go. Hey, did you guys know that like that achievement that I just got is like currently at global Steam ranking, it is the most rare achievement to get that isn't S rank or P rank achievements. Like obviously the rarest achievement is like P rank floor 5 and P rank floor 4. But then before that and like the S rank achievements, it's that one. It's the balloon one. Can I do this? Okay, let's see. Moment of truth. Hello? Open up. I think we should be okay. We good. Okay, we good. Let's go. Okay. Ooh, alright, time for oh shit. Let's go. People suck to find one secret. I think it's not just the fact that they find the secret, it's also the fact that you go through the same place twice. And it's just like, I guess since it's not open to the eye, people kind of forgot that you've gone through that secret before. Or maybe they just didn't realize that that's what you need to do for like the achievement. Which I think is fair. Oh my god. Die. Oh. Die. Break it down. No. Fuck. Okay, I still got the score. Now I'm paranoid about scores. Oh. Whee. Die. Paranoid. Not what I wanted. There we go. This secret music is really good. Aw, shit. Let's go. Best part of the music drops. Yeah, it's so good. Oh my god! Oh, I always fall for that. Luckily, that doesn't ruin runs. Still crazy how this is a level for shit. Die. I don't need to do the chef task. Once again, shout out to Pink Kitty Rose for actually doing 101. Actual insane ass pill, like crazy ass who would have done that kind of thing. Like the crazy part is, it's like at my current clear time, at my current play time, she would have already cleared like a 101 run. Which is like infinitely harder. How? 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 There we go. I'm not doing that for the achievement. I'm just scared. Probably should have just super taunt actually. There we go. There we go. 101 run sounds so painful that I kind of want to do it in the future. Go ahead, be your guest. There's currently only one person in the leaderboard that does 101. So even if you take like 10 hours to beat it, you will still be second on the leaderboard, you know? Just like take like 24 hours for a 101 speedrun, and then it's still like, yeah, second place. Because like literally nobody else bothers to do it. It's such a crazy category. Here we go. Whee! What? It'll be my second time to be on the leaderboard, let's go. And being on the second place too. It's pretty good. Also, like, the most obvious eye ever. Hello? Whoa, whoa. There we go. Why do I... There was some runs where I got stuck there for some reason, and I don't understand why. Oh, no. There we go. Do 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 do. Get up. There we go. The most obvious I ever did you forget about war. I mean, does that count? I guess it counts. Ah, shit. I did not get the achievement. Yay. Our score is really low right now, even though I haven't broken combo. I guess we did just start the chase sequence, but damn, this is low. And I guess there's still second lap, but Die. Oh, my hand hurts. This is a good time for me to rest my hand. Alright. Get back again. Oh, I almost missed that. Go. There we go. Okay. Go there. Go there. Turn around. Slide down? Yep. Go. Oh, I need the cheese. Oh shit, will that break my combo? I kind of fear that it would. Come on. Oh, okay, we got it. Right. Time for a second lap. No, we definitely got it. We definitely have it. P rank, let's go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, focus time. Da 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 na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Is there a faster way to go through this? There has to be, right? There has to be a faster way to go through that section. Whoa! Too fast. Da 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 da. I gotta go for now. Bye bye, Mike. Have fun, whatever it is you're doing. $96 combo. 97, 98. Nice, good job. Oh wow, we still have a lot of seconds on the clock. Okay, and 100 combos too. Put Snolly down. Is only refrigerator left? Oh, it is. Okay. I guess we really are getting closer then. Ooh, that was close. That was close. Ooh, that was a close shave. Okay. I still can't fucking believe that it's using unexpectancy. So it's one of the best parts too. I did not realize that's used for that's from refrigerator, because like a refrigerator one is faster, and then they slowed it down for unexpectancy. That's crazy. This one's kind of asked to P rank too. Not really sure if I can really confident. Oh. Well, the combo just started. I think it's probably fine, alright? We get to meet a lot of stupid shit later on. Oh. Oh my, I'm restarting, fuck you. Accidentally uncovered secret wall. Yeah, I already knew that. It's like one of the easiest to accidentally stumble across. Aside from Mansion. Mansion is also really easy to stumble across. Oh, my hand hurts. Oh, my poor hand. Fuck. And also I'm just sleepy in general. Oh, fuck. Ooh, okay, saved. Whee! Okay, cool. Here? There we go. Easy peasy. Where are we going? Up here. Okay. Oh. No, get up. Ooh, okay, that was kind of close. Oh. Oh wow, I'm surprised I kept the combo, honestly. Ooh. Okay, my mistake on that. What was that? Oh, we're getting close to the end already. Okay. And we only got a B. Well, not really that close to the end yet, but getting somewhere. There we are. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Are you fucking kidding me, Santa asshole? Go away. Oh, no, get there. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I want to kill Santa. Go away. Die. Die. Oh. Nice. Over here? Oh! Okay, it's a good thing I have a checkpoint. Yeah, well, that's for nothing. Okay. Sure. At least the run wasn't as bad as previously. Ah. Die! Oh my god. I hate these guys. Die. What, really? That killed my combo? Oh my god. Oh, fucking die, you assholes. Oh, these snow pork night ass is so annoying. Just the second half of the level gives you awesome pepper pizza and love to is like fuck you nowhere allowed. No, I think I find it really cool. I think it's a cool gimmick that like you use the first lap to clear the path, and then you use the second lap for using the cleared path. I think it's really cool. Like when I realized that you were given a milk right before lap 2, just so that the experience is different, and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like that legit is just a really smart gimmick in my opinion. Isn't like now that you know, you gotta be more meticulous on floor on the first lap on like which block you want to destroy. Because like for example, now you clear this block, that means on the second lap you're able to super jump up there. Oh fuck, I'm so tired already. I really gotta go to sleep after this. But we're getting close. We're only like 3 levels away or something. Not counting the final boss. No, get up. What? Hello? Why did you kick me out like that? Do I get... No, really? Oh my god. Okay, I haven't gotten secret treasure in lap 2, but... is that really enough? It might be, No. 4 levels due to crumbling. That is true, yes. Ooh, that should be good, right? Oh. Ooh, hello? 2 minutes left? I think that should be workable. Well, I want to clear this. There we go. Yeah, we definitely should be able to get the S. Okay. Okay, S is coming right up. Free milk! Let's go! S rank! Now I just need to make sure I super jump right. Nice, there we go. Oh! Oh wait, oh well, whatever. It's fine. We don't need the combo anyways. We don't need the combo. We got all the score we need. Oh, slow Fortnite. Da-na-na-na, 30 seconds? We should be able to got this, I think. I think it should be okay. Yeah, no, it should be okay. Should be okay. Oh, okay, there we go. All S on floor 4. Oh wait, it's up here. We got Fake Pino. Let's go. Fake Pino. Oh! Wouldn't every world have different Fortnites? It really do be like that sometimes. It's kind of crazy. They really said it's like, yeah, you know that one annoying enemy? Like, how about we make more? Ooh. Do 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 do. Time to break dance. It's a good time. No, I'm just gonna rest my hand a little bit. Good time to scratch. Also, it's already past 2:45, so bet is definitely over. Unfortunately, I did not go sub 2:45, and I'm certainly not going sub 3 hours either. That was a lot of messy runs, and also I'm just really fucking sleepy. Oh, my eyes are watering. I actually really do need to sleep after this. Maybe I shouldn't be doing the debug thing. I really want to show like some funny debugs, but I think doing that would be way longer. Okay, I can't get hit anymore. I say show debug for another stream? Probably, yeah. Because there are some funny things that I kind of want to show that like could take a bit. Go. Still kind of funny that you can hit him there. Ooh, that was a deadly combination. There we go. Damn it, didn't hit him. There we go. Right. That's okay. We did only get hit twice, right? I think we only got hit twice, so we should be okay. I say calmly as a freakish monster is chasing me. But it's fine, it's just a pure little dog. Just a lost little dog. A little big dog. There we go. The original version of Crumbling was so long it had 2 teams? Oh my god. Pizza Time Never Ends being the original second song. Oh, that's interesting. A big lost dog. Exactly. A small, big lost dog. Pizza Time Never Ends is so good. Now that I think about it, it does kind of make sense, because like, Pizza Time Never Ends is like a 5-minute song. While the other boss teams are like 2 minutes long or something like that, like generally under 3 minutes. But for Pino's, Fake Pino specifically, it's a 5-minute song. It's super long. And I actually did kind of wonder why, but now that you mentioned that, that makes sense. I'm back off the speedrun going not great, I'll be honest with you, it's not doing great. Also, yes, bunny ears for good luck charm. Also, I'm not really sure if this is something that people do, but usually what I like to do here is after I enter this door, I go back. And then I go here to get myself kicked so that I can open the door over here. So that I don't need to do it during the escape. Because like every time I do it during the escape, I just fail because of anxiety. Alright, this is also probably one of the most horrendous shit to like P rank. Hopefully it's not as bad for S rank. Right? Oh! Do your thing. Hopefully S ranking this isn't that bad. If we get a P rank, that would be crazy. Because like this stage is definitely one of the craziest to P rank. Craziest as in like, it'll take you like 10 billion years to actually do. Whee. Okay, we don't need the super jump. Ooh. I also love how Castlevania the song is. Even though I've never played Castlevania, but it's like you can really feel it. You can really feel the Castlevania-ish. Whee! Whee! Oh! Die. Whee! Okay, I'm going to do that during escape. Shut the fuck up. Get out. Pizzard. Still can't believe your name is literally Pizzard. Whee! Alright. Jikan desu. We're actually doing well so far. Time for the moment of truth. Ikuzo! Let's go. Just need to go through all of the secrets and also Jerome. Uh-oh. Okay, good. Okay. Kick me. Oh, fuck. Kick me. Okay, good. Nice. Okay, good. This one, I don't want to get kicked. I don't want to get kicked. I don't want to get kicked. I do want to get kicked here. There we go. This secret, why does it have electricity over there? That electricity tile over there hits me so many times. That shit's mean. Like, that's legit. There's just no reason to put that shit there. It's actually just mean. Trigger. Go. Ah, fuck. Okay, whatever. We lost the P rank, but we should be able to get S, probably. Kick me. Thank you. Okay. And go here. There we go. Shipkin. I still am missing one secret at the beginning, alright? Yeah, actually, right here. Oh, do I have enough score for this? I'm not really sure if that's a good idea, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, you fucking kidding me? That fucking Fortnite? Oh, we're so close to S. Ah, why did I do that? Okay, it's fine. We're so close to S. We should be good. As long as shit like that doesn't happen. S? A? S? Yes. Okay, good. We got it. Thank God this S rank isn't as stupid as the P rank. I can still make mistakes. Uh-oh. 15 second. Oh boy. No, we should be able to run Pizza Face. Unless I get kicked again. Okay. Whew. 1 second to spare. Let's go. Alright, time to go for Don't Make a Sound. Let's go. Is mandatory P rank for the speedrun? Nope. S rank is mandatory. Let's go. FNAF level. I can still make mistake Lucas before he fell. Look, that's the point. Snitcher. 5, 4. My God, so loud. Oh my God, do I have to restart that. Oh, I forgot there's a dash pad there. I thought I could just get free food over there. That dash pad just sends me to my death. Okay, let's go there. Here we go. Okay, that's a better way to maintain my combo. There we go. Hi. There's but yeah, okay, there we go. That one. We're gonna slow down for that. I shouldn't have killed the pizza boy now that I think about it. I think that's probably what I was meant to do. Woohoo! Yeah, okay, we're good. I don't think score is too bad here, right? Question mark? Probably don't need to do that, but that's fine. Go. Ah. Here we go. Oop. Okay, nice. Alright, now time to go here. There we go. Pop. Oh my God, he's fast. But I'm faster, bitch. Get out of my head. Bye-bye. Go. Oh! Oop, oop. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, okay, got it. Am I missing anything over here? No, I don't. Okay, but I need the combo. nice. Okay. Where is the next secret? Oh, is it here? I think it is here. Hey, that's smooth. I've never done it like that before. Damn. That's actually really satisfying. Pop. Oh, fuck. Okay, good. That would have been maybe bad, because the tomato guys are like really fucking fast. Is this world record pace? No, this is like the 30th place record pace. Ooh. Mushroom monster is so slow you can outrun it while breakdancing? Really? That's kind of hilarious. Is it really that slow? I don't feel like it's that slow. Is it even slower than like the hot dog? Hello? There you go. Whee! Hi. Ah! Keep on forgetting about that. Janitor. Whee. Decon this. Shot the gun. Let's go. Hello there. Bop, bop, bop. Say hello to. Oh my god, what? The cheese one almost still lives. Okay. Die, die. Whew. Ow. We should still be on S rank pace, right? Yeah, we should be okay. I saw really close showing it off, so he's that slow. That's crazy. Doesn't feel that slow. I mean, I guess I never really got caught. I got caught by him unless I like accidentally run the wrong way or something. But even that, that's crazy. Oh, fucking pizza head, cardboard box. Get out of my sight. And this is my boomstick. Oh, wait, am I missing the portal? No, the portal is right here. Oh my god, get out. Portal is right here, right? I'm not missing it, right? Oh, it is, okay. Oh my god, get out! I never really run out of time here, I feel like, but wouldn't be nice if I did. Am I missing anything? I don't think I am. It should be okay on... Should be on P rank, right? Oh my god, get out! Die! Die. Oh! Okay, P rank. A rank? P rank. Is that the last one? No, there's still one more mushroom topping over here. Die. Okay, 40 seconds. We got this. Alright, that's all for now, I think. We good. Oop. There we go. Alright, don't make a sound. Here, rank. I could do the boss now, but we still gotta do war. Let's go. The cheese didn't want to get shot. I had like some of my playthroughs, I think, where I was like, I just shot once and I assumed everyone was dead, and then like the tomato one just killed me. Alright, war time. Let's go, Peppino. This is it. I've practiced all my life for this. Ow. There we go. There we go. Go left. Go right. Jump once. I did not jump at the right time. Grab that. Grab that. I probably don't need that, but that's fine. And go left. Oh. Grab him. Shoot. And then dive. I did not hit the dive. That's fine. Shoot. Go down. Go up here. Shoot. Super jump. Maybe I don't need a super jump. I can just do a normal jump. Up. There we go. Go here. Go here. Go to the okay, fine. I'll go to the secret next lap. I should probably do all of the secret next lap, actually. I think secrets are easier to do without the shotgun. Ooh, that's smooth, actually. Nice. Fuck. There we go. Let's go. Jump. Go down. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it on the second lap. We still got a lot of time, anyways. Oh! We got 1 minute 47. Very nice. Nice. Ooh, that was close. We got 2 minutes. Super jump here. I don't really remember where else is here. Oh, okay, this one. Alright, we'll also do this secret on second lap then. Jump here. Go up here. What's over here? I'll just super taunt you because fuck you. I don't like you. Yay! Da-da-da-da-da-da. We got 2 minutes, it's fine. Ooh. Die. Oh, okay. We should be good. There's still almost 2 minutes left. Die. Okay. What the hell hit me? What hit me? Okay, that's not P rank, but surely it's S rank? We still haven't done all of the secrets. Okay, I'm not super confident actually now that I think about it. I gotta really start like killing the enemies too. Oh, hopefully this is fine. The Peppino clone hit you? Oh damn, his attack is really far. Alright, we need the bells. Hey, it's fine. Go here. Oh. Go there. Oh, dude, I saw someone playing this room. The way they did it is that on lap 2, they get hit by the electric socket. They get hit by the electric socket, And then they used that invincibility time when they got hit by the socket to super jump up to where the rat usually is. That's like crazy. That's actually like such a cool strat. Super taunt, fuck you. Get down. There's a secret here that I need to do. Ow. There we go. Ow! Fuck. Okay, it's fine. We're close to S rank. Surely we can get it. We don't need to go there. But what if I need to? What if I need to for the score? Ah, well, whatever. That's all I need. We can't waste too much time. Die. Get out. Oh, oh. Oh my god, die! Okay, we still maintain our combo. Die. Too bad the Pepinos doesn't actually give you a combo. Oh, secret. Ooh, secret. Ah. Oh. Oh, get out of my way! Is it not enough for S? Okay, we need to taunt then. Hold on, I need the bell. Okay. We're at like 3 screens left, I think? Oh my god, my throat is dying. Holy shit, did you hear that? We're like 3 screen. Okay, yeah, okay, we got it. Okay, S rank. Cool. Oh. Alright, that's all. Time. Jikan desu. Finally. Let's go. War is such a fun level to P rank. It really is. We can't let Lucas sleep on stream. It's fine. It's fine. Also, I do need tower, Crumbling Tower of Pizza to be S2, don't I? Let's go. Come on. Die. Get fucked. Come on. Die. Pop. Oh fuck. Ooh. Die. Okay. I don't remember what your next attack is. Oh, okay. Fuck. Oh fuck. Fucking hell. Everything falls apart once I forgot his pattern. Okay. There we go. Wait, what's your next attack? Okay. Oh fuck, I missed. Okay, so next attack is Snip Out. It gives no rank roll. Does it? Does he not need any rank? Oh no, my screen died. Do I not need to be... Does it not count? Oh my god. Pizza Face has no rank, so do I don't need this to be like S rank or anything then. Okay. I'll trust you guys on this, hopefully. Except when Pizza Face has no rank. Okay, cool. So I guess I just need to make sure my Crumbling Tower of Pizza run is good. You want, you don't want at all, at all. You want, you don't want at all, at all. Oh, fuck. Okay, that's fine. Be all I be all. You want, you don't want, you want, you don't want, you want, you don't want at all, at all. Oh, let's go. I need the scratch. You want, you don't want, you want, you don't want, you want, you don't want at all. B O 9 D O D D O 9 G O D. Why would you, 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 why would you? B O D O. Da 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 da. Hey guys, you guys want to see a cool strat with Gustavo after I actually land the hit? So the strat is called waiting for Gustavo to spawn again. There we go. Easy vigilante phase, am I right? Oh wait, why did I do that? Why did I just rush in noise? Oh fuck, okay. Oh fuck. Poof. There we go. Poof. Oh, I missed. Oh, I missed. Let's go. This is the refrigerator part. I can't believe like the refrigerator part is like one of the most epic one too. Oh, I missed. Don't preheat your oven goes hard. What can I say? It's so good. We got it! Street 2-4. This is even longer than my previous run. I had so much stupid shit going on in this run. God damn. We weren't even close to 245. Oh, my hand hurts too. I'll probably still continue like trying this, honestly. I need to make sure to study Deep Dish 9 and also, what was it that I had problem again? Crust Cove and Deep Dish 9. I guess those two are my main priority now. Alright, final one. Crumbling Tower of Pizza. Let's go. Mr. Stick, let's go. Shotgun. I need to actually like kill a lot of stuff here. I remember now, because like since there's no lap 2 and no treasures or anything, you actually really gotta get the points. Like you actually gotta kill all of the enemies and you actually gotta like grab the top ends, the small ones, because like or else it's that's like your only source of score. Fake Pepino. Snobby. Oh my god, die! We got time. You can waste a little bit of time. Die! Get fucked! Get parried, idiot! You! Attack me, I dare you. Get fucked. Wiener sausage. Go up there. There we go. Also, I like that there's like a director's seat over there. It's kind of like as if this whole thing really is just for show. Ah, well, what am I doing? Oh, get in! Okay, time for Primalberg. Primalberg action coming up. Primalberg, let's go! There we go. Ow. Okay, there we go. Come on, give me my P rank. I know you want to give me my P rank. Give me my fucking P rank. There we go. Let's go. We still got 2 minutes here. Wow. We really could have gotten much slower and it wouldn't even matter. Like, I've seen many people being at like, I think myself included on my first playthrough, where it's like around this area you still have like 40 seconds left and it's like you still can reach the gate and like, my god, I still have a lot of time left. Okay. My god, that's so loud. Let's go. We got it. Even though with a very shamefully terrible time. It's up 3:30 though. If you use debug to activate, yeah, I know about that. Appearing on at least one level on each floor. Not that I mean to do it, but you know. Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. But it was technically my second try, so I guess it's fine. And also, now I know to focus on Deep Dish and Cross Cove, because those two are the one that fucked me up the most. What else? What did I miss? Anything else that was like oh, golf. Well, I mean, golf was because I skipped like that. Golf was kind of because I skipped lap 1, but if I can find a way to keep my combo going, I think I might still be able to like skip lap 1 and continue get a S rank, but I probably will have to go for a P rank in that regards. I don't make the Gustavo strat for phase 3, it's so good. It is really funny, but it could be a bit slow, I don't know. It's definitely safe, I will say that much. It's definitely super safe, because he just straight up doesn't let Vigilante attack, which is super fucking funny. Also, hi Nightmare, how are you? Oh. The end. Peppino's final judgment. Will I still get holy shit if I do this? No, I don't think so, because holy shit is like 315, right? This is already past that, so it's probably wow, I guess. It's probably wow. Oh, I still get holy shit, really? Wait, what's the cutoff for holy shit? I thought the cutoff for holy shit is like 315. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's go. 4 hours? Really? That's a long time. Alright. Holy shit, it's 4 hours. God damn. They really give you a lot of time for that. Alright, that's all for now, I think. I do want to do like the whole debug shit, but it's not... well, okay, I can open the debug now. As you can see on the command history, I have tried some shit. It's like if you put like Panic 5000 here, it'll start the Crumbling Tower of Pizza thing, and you get Gustavo there, which is really funny. And you can also get Pepperman, but then you can also just like revert the panic, and then it's no longer panic mode, and then they're still following you. And then you can bring them to like boss battles. Dude. And they're still here. So we got 2 Pepperman. Everyone is scared to see Peppino fight Pepperman. He was like, I can't believe I get to see my ass kicked again. That's good. But I think like if you exit the level... Yeah, if you exit the level, it's no longer there. But I did find something else that was kind of funny, which is that if you go to floor 5, I think? Yeah, I think I have to go to floor 5 first. We go to floor 5. Oh wow, I actually nailed that jump. That jump was crazy. Hi, Snotty. If you go to floor 5, you do panic. Will you help Mr. Moody? No. And then you go here. You grab the shotgun. You delete the panic. No, you put the panic back, actually. And then you go... here. Close the panic again. Go up here to reset the room. Do I need to reset the room? No, I don't think so. Now, you carry the shotgun. You now carry the shotgun around. The best thing about this is that you can bring it to levels, which is insane. Alright. Die, get fucked. No more fucking ghosts. I'm sick of this shit. Kill the ghost? Oh, hell yeah, I'm with the power of shotgun. Yeah, you can bring the shotgun on other levels. That's so stupid. Shotgun mode. Unfortunately, you can't kill this. You can't kill this guy. Unfortunately, with the shotgun. I think the shotgun kind of just counts as like throwing them. So it's like if it's something that's like you can't really throw, you can't really kill. Unfortunately. Perfectly normal gameplay. Yeah, this is how you P rank pizza scare. Just bring a shotgun with you. You see a gun, you see a ghost and you can't kill, just shotgun it. Die. Die. Get fucked. You can also bring this on, don't make a sound. And it'll also just like, yeah, you can just straight up kill the animatronics before you start the escape sequence. Alright, but I think if you exit the level, yeah, the shotgun is gone again. But I think you can... No, not I think, I know you can. But like, you can do... Hold on, I need to get the shotgun again. There we go. Go back here. Go back here. Here. You can bring it to like other... you can bring it to other floors. You can bring it to fight the noise. Pepino versus the noise. Yeah, let's start this boss battle. You can't hit him right now, but when he's vulnerable, you can actually still shoot him, which is so fucking stupid. You can't like shoot the bomb though, but like you can't do that. Now it's finally fair. Die, get fucked. Considering the fact that the noise still survives against a fucking shotgun, it's still pretty good shit, you know? Die. Wow. Wow. Die. Get fucked. Wow. But I think for the final shot, yeah, for the final shot you can't shotgun him, because it has to deal the cinematic. But what you can't do is that you can do that, and that will still count as a cinematic. That's so funny. How to make pizza scare better. Step 1, gun. Exactly. How? How? Die. Get fucked. Die. Get fucked. I also like how slowly noise moves. Oh, wow. Look at how slow, look at how slow he moves across the screen after getting shot. That's so fucking funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Let's go. Get fucked. I'm just gonna stand in the corner. Oh, fuck. Oh, right, I can't. I actually have to ground pound him. There we go. Good fight. Okay, I think that's about all for now. There is, of course, stuff like, you know, just generally activating panic on certain stages. If panic, by the way, is... I probably should have explained a little bit first. Panic is basically starting off pizza time. Well, no, not... Yeah, it basically starts off pizza time, and the number on the variable is how long until pizza time. So if you do like panic 500, it's like 5 seconds, I think. Oh, never mind, it's 50 seconds, or I guess, or some shit. And then you can just start lap 2 immediately. But yeah, I think like since the tower counts as crumbling tower of pizza, if you do like panic 10, yeah, you just lose. And then you go back here. But yeah, that's about all for now. I'm tired, I'm sleepy. I might do like some more debug shit, like some other stream or something, or I'm probably just gonna do like more 100% speedrun and learn from my mistake. Hopefully Deep Dish 9 doesn't fuck me up in the ass again. Hopefully Golf doesn't fuck me up in the ass again. Hopefully... what else? Deep Dish 9, Golf, Crust Cove doesn't also fuck me up in the ass again. There was something else, wasn't there? I feel like there was something else, but I couldn't really think of one. Waste Yard? No, I thought Waste Yard. No, I think that's about it. I think it's mainly just those three. Anyways, that's all for now. Thank you for coming to the stream. I'm gonna find someone to raid. I'm definitely not gonna sugarcoat it. I bought a gun with me. Look, at least I still countered it perfectly, right? I still parried it. Oh no, my Twitch is like broken. My Twitch is not showing anyone up right now. Beep 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 beep. Oh, okay, never mind. It's now it's loading. Let's see. Pizza. I'll see what I draw. Oh, are you doing the tarot card thing? Pizza time. Oh, okay, let's go rate another person who's playing Pizza Tower. Pizza time. Let's rate Era. If you have my emote, you can do this one, or if you don't have any my emote, you can use that one. You can also potentially do like this one. That instead, if you want to be, you know, pizza themed or something, or you want to be fancy, some shit like that. Do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Just be nice, be kind, don't be weird, and all that stuff. And I'll see you another time. Yeah. Bye bye. Oh fuck! I keep on forgetting to start up my recording. Oh well, whatever. Bye bye.